Board of County Commissioner regular workshop meeting to order. Today the invocation will be led by Commissioner Adamczak, Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Turner. Please rise if you can.
Dear Lord, I come to you in thanksgiving for everything that you've provided for us as a community, as individuals, as a commission. Please allow us to make the best decisions we can in light of your guidance. Allow our community to thrive in these trying times of COVID and coming out of COVID and whatever holds forth coming forward from this. It's just a confusing time for some. Allow them to have some understanding of what's going on, what they should be doing for themselves and for their community. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Adamczak and Commissioner Turner. We're going to move public comments down to the end. Item number 3, Port Authority. Is there any public comments on Port Authority items only? Is there any comments on Port Authority? Anybody raising their hand in our Zoom? No. Okay, we're going to pass that. Go item B, general discussion. Port Authority commissioners, are there any general discussion on Port Authority items? Yep. Being none, we're going to move down to adjourning the Port Authority and coming back to the regular workshop. We're going to move Mr. Sam Sullivan. Item D, grants, projects, and legislative affairs. Mr. Sam Sullivan, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I just want to give you a quick recap of the individual assistance program that we did as part of Putnam Cares the last few months. As you know, we started in October. We hired the United Way to administer the program for us. As a result of the program, we were able to help 601 households in the community for a monetary total of a little over $1,027,000. During this process, we handled thousands of phone calls, sent and received thousands of emails, and even sent over 1,200 requests for additional information from applicants. That was just a recap. I just want to give you a quick snippet of what we did and answer any questions if you have any.
Commissioners, any questions for Mr. Sullivan?
I have a comment.
Yes, sir. Mr. Adamczak.
And this is something I've been sharing with any group or any individuals that I come in contact with that potentially could apply for grants in the next 4 years. Given the climate of our country and the fact that we have a new president coming up here in 8 days, I think it is, there's heavy rumors and probably truth in the fact there's going to be trillions of dollars of infrastructure bills coming forward in the name of COVID CARES Act, COVID recovery, whatever they want, however they want to name it. But on pretty good resources, I feel that's going to happen based on the conversations I've had outside of this group. And I would like to consider us potentially adding a second person in Sam's type position to allow us to be proactively ready to apply for grants and to expand on what we're doing now. But I think they're going to be coming, and I don't want to be reacting and trying to fill that type of thing. I think it's something we should talk about. I don't know if it needs to happen. I don't know what Sam's workload is, but I think it would be in our best interest to explore that possibility.
Thank you. Mr. Turner?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, I totally agree with Commissioner Adamczak on this issue. I think that at the present time, we have teamwork going on as good as anywhere that I've ever seen in any private company or anywhere else. Seems like if we need, whenever the CARES Act and all the funding came through, we pulled people from every department and turned them into a team, and you'd have thought they'd have been arm in arm forever, and they got the task done. And if it gets to the point, I'm with you, but I think that needs to be something that our county administrator needs to decide if it's time to do that now, to bring in somebody with Sam, or if it's time, or does he want to use the same approach that he's been using, which is take someone from another department that can spare the time to come in and aid with what needs to be done that week or whatever. So, you know, I have no problem with what you said whatsoever, but I'd kind of like to, at some point, let the county administrator decide if that's the most needed position in his staff and let him fill his people. Well, that's just me. Thank you.
And I agree with that. I mean, I have talked to him about it a bit as well before I decided to come here. I guess the idea is it's more of a federal grants type writer who could also pursue others with that specific skill set that Sam probably has, and the people that are helping him may not have the same level he has. So I guess, and to not pull as many people away from other projects and other things. But obviously it would be, I would like for Terry to come up with that suggestion if possible, but I just wanted to lay that out because I think it's something we may need to pursue.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Any other? All right, Mr. Sullivan, thank you so much for joining us today in the presentation. Gentlemen, item A has been pulled. We did not have a subcommittee meeting, so we were going to have one before we bring this back to you and actually back before the insurance committee as a whole. Okay, item B, J.R. Grimes, Executive Director, Public Safety, COVID-19 vaccination update. Mr. Grimes, are you on the Zoom?
And just move to Miss Young if he shows up.
Okay,
We'll do it.
we'll move to, we've all heard the vaccine update,
Yeah.
so we pretty much know, but in case Mr. Grimes will join us in a minute, we'll just go to Julianne Young, Deputy County Administrator, CARES Act update, small business and nonprofit program. Ms. Young, are you on the line?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Commissioner. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're a little low, but
Okay, maybe a little better?
yes, ma'am.
Excellent. I'm here today just to give you the finalized numbers for our business and nonprofit program that we administered through the CARES Act funding. In total, we awarded 501 business entities in Putnam County and an additional 57 nonprofit entities in Putnam County. In total, Putnam County handed out just over $5.4 million in aid to our businesses and nonprofits. That program has been closed out at this time.
Okay. Julianne, I guess the question I have is the second CARES Act money has come in and that extended the program to December of this year, but the state of Florida has not extended the program. Have you heard any updates on whether the state will extend the program to follow the federal government's guidelines?
Yes, sir. The information coming from FDEM and specifically from our assigned FDEM liaison is that this time the state does not intend to extend the deadline set forth for those smaller counties. So if you're a larger county, you get to go by the federal deadline. If you're a smaller county, your deadline is imposed with the state. And at this time, there is no indication that they are going to change that deadline and extend it for us. In fact, they are sending out daily briefings as to deadlines, and we have all been given our final deadline for that program as February 28th. Again, still program guideline deadlines extended by December 30th. So at this time, the state is not allowing for any leniency.
Thank you. And I'm sure Mr. Adamczak is correct. There's going to be more things coming down the funnel towards these counties, and we'll be adjusting ourselves as that goes. So I'm sure of that is going to happen. Any comments or questions from Ms. Young, Commissioners?
No.
Okay. All right, then we'll end that conversation. Mr. Grimes, I see you. Thank you, Ms. Holmes. Mr. Grimes, I see you on the Zoom call. So if you'd like to give us a quick update.
Yes, sir. Sorry, I was on the link from this morning. I thought we were reconvening in the same one. Thank you. I think Commissioner Chairman Harvey hit it pretty well earlier.
Mr. Grimes, we cannot hear you that good.
Jacob's gonna turn
How
it
about
on.
now?
Hang on a second,
Can you hear me?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Jacob, can you turn it up, or is that all the way up in here as far as the speakers. I can't
Oh.
hear you. Okay.
Okay,
Okay,
JR,
excuse me.
Can you hear me now?
Go ahead.
JR, they're coming to you to turn your volume up so we can hear you better.
Okay.
Or if you want to run over here and stand in the back of the, no. With a microphone.
How's that? Can you hear me now?
Better,
Yes.
yes, thanks.
Okay. Yes, thank you. Commissioner, Chairman Harvey hit it pretty well earlier. We served about 1,300 citizens last week at our vaccine site. It ran very well. We've got positive reflections back from a lot of our community members on how well it went. As a matter of fact, I got a call from another person today at lunch and raved about how well the process was and how short the wait times were, and I said it was very well organized and put together. I think Chairman Harvey mentioned earlier that we do have another 150 vaccines coming in tomorrow. We're going to stand the system up for probably, I would say probably about an hour and a half tomorrow to get those 150 out. And then it's just kind of a waiting game to see when we're going to receive more vaccines. We have not heard yet, so as soon as we get word on it, we're going to push them out and get it to the people that want it. As of this morning, I got a list. There's 9,289 people that are still awaiting the vaccine. So that was as of lunch today. We got a spreadsheet. So as people are calling, I'm able to verify, or we are able to verify that they are still on the list. And I mean, I can't tell them exactly when they're going to get the call because we're still waiting to hear how quickly we will receive vaccine from here on out. But other than that, it was a pretty good week. So that's about all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Grimes. I do want to point out Representative Payne is the vice chair of the pandemic committee up in Tallahassee with the legislators. They are meeting Thursday, and Senator Perry is on the committee of pandemic in the Senate, and they're meeting Thursday also. So, but I think we're going to start seeing more and more vaccines coming this way. Again, Mr. Grimes, let me say that you put together, along with the health department and our staff, a very well-oiled machine, along with the National Guard. And I heard nothing but positive things come out of those vaccines, so people are very excited. What I am hearing is they want more, but that's out of our control. That's a state-controlled situation, but we're looking very forward to the promises that are made. And if we can show we can do it, I believe we're going to be able to get it. And I think that's what we're showing. So, Mr. Grimes, thank you. Mr. Rawls, you have a comment?
Yeah, I do. Jay, are you still there?
Yes, sir.
When we were talking this morning, did I understand you correctly that folks should go ahead and sign up even though we don't have the vaccine available? And you were saying that even if they don't meet the age requirement, sometimes you have vaccines left over that you don't want to waste, so you'll try to make contact. Is that correct?
Well, yes, sir. We've actually closed our registration lines so we can get a better line on vaccines. Otherwise, the list is just going to keep stacking up. So they actually pulled the registration down this morning.
Okay.
Because otherwise, we got to keep the call center open, and we're using our staff that we have to keep the call center open. So as of right now, it's closed down. If we can get a better idea of how quickly we're going to get vaccine, we'll absolutely get it back up and running. But we don't even have any word that we're getting any further. So we're just kind of playing it by ear, and we'll set it up just as soon as we get like I said, a better line on vaccine.
Okay.
Okay, any further questions? Mr. Grimes, thank you.
Yeah, I do. I do for JR. JR, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, I just want to, as Commissioner Harvey and all the commissioners, just thank you for what you and your staff have done. I heard very positive things from a few residents in South Putnam that have applied and went and got their vaccines. And I actually visited the site out at the fairgrounds last Wednesday and very impressed of how efficient it was. So we really appreciate that because it's a very positive thing and kind of a negative atmosphere that's going around with the COVID. But JR, I do have a couple of questions if you might be able to answer them. Some of the people are reaching out to me and they have They have registered, but they don't know where they are as far as where they are in line. Is that possible for them to find out, you know, what number they are, when they might be, you know, called, when we get more vaccine?
Yes, sir, we have a list and we have a number. However, I can't answer when they're gonna get called. Because until we get the vaccine, we don't know how far we can go down the line, or if the line's even gonna move anymore. But, I mean, I have looked up on the line, and I do have a spreadsheet that, I have here, that if somebody has a question, they're welcome to call. They can call me or either myself or Brian O'Toole, and we'll be glad to assist any way we can with,
Okay.
making sure that they are on that list.
Okay, I'm not sure what number, two individuals called, but they said they waited for over 35 minutes and did not get a response. They called and just got put on.
Today?
Sir?
Was that today?
No, that was actually yesterday, and one of the people you spoke with, and then I got an email yesterday afternoon, and it was very similar. They have, you know, applied, and they're just wondering when will they get called, and they had called one of the numbers and was put on hold for over 20 minutes.
Okay, I'll check into that. I can't speak to that. I mean, I know that the phone lines are busy, regularly out there. I mean, there's 6 people steady and answering phone calls. That may have just been one that got missed, but we'll check in on it. If you give me their names, I'll be happy to check for you.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Grimes,
Yes, sir.
do want to encourage our residents who are listening to us today talking about this. You and I have spoke about this, that if they have another avenue to get the vaccine, you know, even though they're on the list, go ahead and get it somewhere else if they can. You know, this is a state problem, and, you know, as Publix, for example, is opening up and some of your hospitals are opening up, that's going to open up more avenues for people to get it. And if they've already gotten it and they're on the list, that'll relieve some of the pressure off that list too. So I think it's prudent for us to steer them in whatever positive way we can to go out and seek this vaccine. Because like you said, if you're 9,289 and we did 1,300 last week and we're doing 150 tomorrow, my math says that we're at 1,450. You got a long way to go before you can get
That's
there.
correct.
And and honestly, it's going to be hard to answer everybody's question about what number they're on. So I've encouraged the people that have contacted me to go find, you know, be patient, number one, and then go find other alternatives if there is available. Had a customer, Mr. Commissioner Pickens, one of our people contacted me yesterday, contacted me again last night, and Mayo Clinic had contacted them and was scheduling some appointments for them. So I encouraged them, go get that done, and then we'll take you off this list, because wherever you can get it is where you can get it at right now. So, thank you, Mr. Grimes. Any further questions? Okay. Seeing none, we're going to be done with that. We're going to open up our public comment portion. This portion of the agenda is designed to allow citizens an opportunity to bring matters to the attention of the board. It is not reasonable to expect that the board will engage in debate or deliberations about matters on which the board has received no prior information as part of the agenda. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Do we have any public comments in our Zoom chat room? I see none. So we're going to close that portion of this workshop, and we're going to go to commission. Well, good. Let's go to County Attorney. County Attorney, Mr. Commando. Thank you, sir. Mr. Administrator, Mr. Terry Suggs.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of things. I'm assuming we're going to talk about future
Yes.
meetings during commission comments? Okay.
Or we can bring it up now if you'd like.
Okay. Well, Mr. Chairman, if you'd like to lead that conversation, that'd be fine.
We, out of abundance of caution, as you well know, we moved this meeting to a hybrid meeting. Last week, we shut down some of the meetings that were going to happen inside the building. We really want to end that this week. We have a meeting coming up. What's that meeting that we got? We got the
special magistrate meeting?
Magistrate meeting for next Tuesday at 8 o'clock. We feel sure that we can, Mr. Siafi feels that that meeting can end in a couple hours. We were having our commissioner priority meeting that day, starting at 9. But if it's the will of the commission, why don't we just push that meeting back to 10 o'clock? And we'll get started with our commissioner priority meeting at 10 versus 9. And we'll let the magistrate get their work done, clean the room, and then we'll come back in. Is that satisfactory?
That's fine.
Good by me, yeah.
I spoke with, when's the last time you spoke with Sayafi? Because he wasn't sure he's gonna get it done in 2 hours.
We spoke to him
A
at
couple
noon.
hours ago, yeah.
Yeah, just a
Did you?
couple hours.
Okay, well then you're good.
And he felt very confident that, he said an hour and a half, so I've said by 9:30, but I'd like to have some time to clean up the room and be prepared for that, and for the public to be here too. I think we're going to be fine at that point. I don't think we need to be a hybrid meeting for next Tuesday. If we get an outbreak, we'll decide then, but I think we're going to be, I think the numbers are retreating enough. I think that's the only meeting we really, and the Planning Commission got moved back from tomorrow to the end of the month on the 27th. So that's the only other meeting that got moved back.
I believe you're correct, Mr. Chairman, and again, for today, in the sake of conversation, we did this today out of the abundance of caution, because we did have several of our staff, especially our management team, that had tested positive for COVID. So we wanted to make sure that we weren't bringing more folks in from the outside, possibly exposing them as well as exposing further staff members. You know, it's been a long 10 days, and so with those folks out, but I hear I spoke to all of them today with the exception of one, and they're doing well. They anticipate being back next week, and it's been a rough few days, I can tell you, on a couple of them, and so I appreciate the understanding of what you did this week, and hopefully we'll be able to flatten these numbers a little bit in these curves and get back to normalcy around here.
I agree.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir, Mr. Turner.
I want to say at this point that I totally support your efforts to try and do what you did today, and that I will totally support you making the decision if you feel like it needs to be done next week or the week after. That's totally up to you, and I think you have that authority and my absolute support.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. You know, when you were the chairman, a long time ago, right? You know,
Back in them good old days?
back in the good old, you just have to make the decisions that need to be made at that time with the information that you have. And as bad as I hated to do that for today, it had to be done. And we needed to go forward. Yes? I cannot hear.
Sarah wants to speak.
Sarah, do you want to speak?
Yes, I just needed some clarification. There are 2 committee meetings scheduled for tomorrow, Waterways and Trails and Public Safety. Do we want to cancel those or proceed
Tomorrow or
with
Thursday?
social distancing?
I think
So
those
Thursday.
are Thursday meetings, but I think it's
I'm
prudent
sorry,
for
the
us.
14th.
I think it's prudent for us until our staff is back for us to postpone those meetings if we possibly can. I think that's prudent. So let's go ahead and
Okay.
push those meetings back.
I'll take care of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Is there any other comments?
No, sir, only comment I got is just want to wish all those staff members that are out a healthy, speedy recovery, and let them know that we're thinking about them. Anything we can do, please don't hesitate to ask.
Yeah,
So
I
thank
agree.
you.
I tell you, the worst thing we could have is someone that somebody pass away or somebody get too sick that it disrupts their whole family, and we don't need that here. Commissioner requests. Let me start to my far right. Commissioner Adamsack.
I'm all set.
Okay, Commissioner Turner?
Yes, is Mr. Troxel on the line with us?
Mr. Troxel, are you on the line?
Okay, I just wanted him to hear this comment. He and I have been talking some about the 207 Cracker Swamp Road interchange. We've been talking to DOT about. We first requested a red light, they declined it. Then they came up with a redesign of the intersection, which we reviewed in at Public Works and myself, and I think it's going to work out pretty good for that area. And Bobby Payne, Representative Payne, came and met with me last week about this same issue. He had been a lot of people had reached out to him on it, and while we wish that we could add acceleration lanes to the intersection, I don't know that we're gonna be successful in that, but he's gonna go back and ask if we can. I guess what I would like to know is if we can find out from DOT, number one, do they think at what time they're going to actually do the work on 207 and Cracker Swamp Road, if it's even in a plan for a certain amount of years, because that should be safety money, and it shouldn't take as long as regular funding from DOT. The other project that we've been waiting on now for at least 3 years, 4 years, is before I was even here, was East End Road and Highway 100 intersection that I keep hearing is coming and is coming and is coming, but it was supposed to be safety money also. So I guess if it's gonna take 4 or 5 years to do that intersection, is it also gonna take 4 or 5 years to do the Cracker Swamp Road 207 intersection? So maybe we could find that out from DOT. That'd be kinda nice, get an update on that. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. And also, Mr. Representative Payne contacted me, sat down with me, showed me the plans, and I concur with Commissioner Turner. And I think it's a pretty good plan. Commissioner Adams?
That one, that's where it winds really aggressively.
What's that?
It's where it winds really aggressively. Out in
207 Cracker Swamp Road is,
Mr. Adams?
yeah, East End, yes.
Sorry.
East End Road's the one where
I
it
mean,
lies.
another thing that puts some urgency on that is that's out where that, basically where we're gonna be talking about later, the solar farm is gonna be out past there, and their intentions are to use that corridor for all the big trucks and all the construction. So if there's, I don't know how we put priority on it, but because we know there's a big project potentially gonna happen out there, I think we really need to address that, because we're gonna have big trucks going through a neighborhood that normally wouldn't be going through there, and going through that Y onto the left side there, that isn't the anticipated normal monitored traffic that the state would take into account.
They also have a design in place already, and they were supposed to be in the land acquisition portion of it, and so maybe because of, I think probably they'll be done before FPL gets started with the solar farm down on that road, and I think FPL also has alternative ways to get in through the Yelverton,
Right.
down Yelverton Road, so it's gonna be kinda both ways, but the other way, they'll have to go on some dirt road, and so, anyhow, with that being said, I'd like to see if we can't get an update and see if where we are on those two projects.
Mr. Chairman, I'll schedule some conference calls with me, Mr. Troxel, and DOT, and see if we can't get some answers to both of
Right.
these projects, and see if we can't bring it back to the board.
And I'm just going off the information FPL shared at the planning commission meeting, is that they plan to come down that way as well.
And I think we need to give Representative Payne a little bit of time also to work on those acceleration lanes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, if we can get that done. Is there anything else?
That's all, sir. That's all.
Okay, Mr. Pickens,
I'm good.
Mr. Rawls.
A couple of years ago, I started trying to have town hall meetings around the county, and want to try to get that started up again. So from a logistical perspective, what do I need to do if I'm going to host a town hall meeting? Everybody's going to be invited, obviously, to get notification out to the public. I know that we don't need to travel with an entourage. We don't need to have a county attorney. We can, go to an area as long as somebody's taking notes on that. But how do we want to handle notifying the public that there might be more than one commissioner present at these meetings?
You just
What-
have
what's-
to, do it by doing the regular advertising.
Just tell our PIO to put it on the,
Right.
okay.
And Sarah will advertise
Sarah's
that.
got to advertise it.
And I was asked last week if we're going to get back to having quarterly nighttime meetings again.
You mean the town hall meeting?
Yeah.
I think that's something that we're gonna discuss Tuesday, isn't it? And I'm
Yes.
sure at least 2 commissioners are gonna bring that issue to
Okay. I didn't, I
their
don't know.
workshop, yeah.
Let's do it Tuesday if that's okay.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Just so you know, what I plan on trying to do is have at least one a month somewhere in the county. Barden, is my next thing. This, Zoom meeting that we're having for Barden Thursday night, are we supposed to be here physically? Do we just need to Or who's hosting it, who's running the meeting, who's doing that? Is that done by the contractor?
That was my
What's-
question.
No, my understanding is that it's something that we're putting together, Mr. Triano put together, but he's out sick right now. We really need to get some information on that because I'm concerned that the people in Barden don't have the ability to Zoom in.
Well, I reached out to Leota.
Right.
She's part of a Facebook, Barden has a Facebook presence. She's gonna, get that, to them, and we can get the word out, and it's already getting out, so let's not cancel it. But,
You know what I thought is a big screen TV at Bud's Grocery and everybody drive up and, pretty much,
drive-in movie night?
well, that's,
No, seriously, though, if there's talking points that I can get now, if we're not gonna do this, then we can still go forward, just get me the talking points, and I'll be glad to speak to the folks. But if we talk to Mr. Bush, if we talk to the Keys and let them, that's two really good means of getting the information out there.
I agree. Go ahead, Mr.
Mr.
Sugg.
Chairman, I was just going to respond to Commissioner Rawls's request about the notification. Commissioner, if you'll give us, the staff, the dates and times and locations of where you'd
Okay.
like to meet, we'll go ahead and blast that out on our social media as well, post it on all our calendars and our website just to make sure that enough, information gets out there. And, if it's going to be more than one commissioner, then all we have to do is properly advertise it as a meeting where there's more than one commissioner that may be in attendance, and you're right. All we have to do is take notes and that type of stuff. But we'll assist any way we can in getting the social media active to let them know where your meetings might be held that night.
Okay.
And as far as the Barden Bridge, with it already being scheduled and advertised as a Zoom, I agree with Commissioner Rawls. I'd hate to change that at this point. And if we need to host another meeting after that, we can do that.
That's what I was thinking. Two things, actually. Let's just do the Zoom for the Barden Bridge and get some of the questions we have. I'm sure this is not the last meeting I'm sure you're gonna want to be out there. I'm sure Mr. Adams is gonna want to be out there. I want to be out there so we can answer many questions as we possibly
Well,
can.
I'm assuming that this is so we can, it's just a preemptive conversation, get them aware of what's fixing to happen.
Right.
And then by the end of May, it looks like they're gonna be able to have the one lane, full load. So I don't think you're gonna have any resistance.
No, I don't think you're gonna have resistance. I think what you're gonna have, though, is I've already told some of my friends out there that have heavy equipment that they need to move their equipment
Right.
as soon as possible because the contractor's going to enforce those weight limits.
Yeah.
And no doubt about it, he's gonna have to, so, but I'm sure this isn't the last meeting, so we'll get that.
Mr. Chairman, I think,
Go ahead.
I think part of what Thursday's meeting may help with is some confusion of people that have reached out to me, and I guess they rode by and saw a sign where it says possible lane closures at some point, and they took that as we were gonna shut the road down, and all hell broke loose for about a few hours, and then they turned around when they figured out that they just misread the sign,
Right.
and everything kinda calmed right back down. So I think Commissioner Rawls is correct if everybody understands that there's not gonna be, the road is not gonna be closed, but there will be periodic lane closures,
Yeah.
then I think everything will be just fine.
And on your next point about going out in town halls, I really want to have that conversation Tuesday and then we'll get the dates and we'll start looking at that as a board as a whole and as individual commissioners. So,
Yeah, Larry,
Mr. Pickens, are you still?
I have a comment about
Okay.
Jefferson. On that, I didn't get the meeting for Thursday till today, and I know Jim's out and everything. So, it seems like it happens more than it should. I don't know what the definition of that is. I haven't been here long enough to know. But late notice for stuff and late updates just seems like it's something that continues to happen. Unfortunately, I mean, that's one I definitely wanted to be involved in. I'm going to be in a committee meeting in Orlando for a different organization, particularly at that exact time. So, and part of that is to discuss selections and other things like that, is how we can do things better. And I was planning to present how good we did as Putnam County as an example, and get some information from our supervisor election. So I do have a conflict then. I'm gonna try to see if I can delay when I speak at that meeting, and then go from there. So
Thank
But I would like a little more heads up than 2 days before.
I don't disagree. I believe it was a lot of folks that was involved in trying to schedule a meeting, and I got a notification just as you did, Commissioner, but we'll work on that. It does seem to happen from time to time, but it's when you're trying to put a meeting together with a lot of participants, sometimes it doesn't come in until late, but I certainly understand your frustration.
And then I had
Go ahead.
one other thing. Is Mr. Troxel on the call or no?
Mr. Troxel, are you on the call?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Hey, Mike, last night at the BOCC Community Association meeting, there was, you and I had gone out there and looked at an area that was proximal to the fire station where there'd been some white material put down. It was sandy. Remember that?
Yes.
They said they never heard back from it, never heard or saw from anybody after you and I met out there that day. Nothing ever happened.
Okay, I will get back with Mike Strahan, the grading guy, and I
Okay.
will see where they stand. But yeah, they should have went back out there and regraded that and got rid of some of that material. That was all sand.
Okay, that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Pickens? Is that what we're calling?
Already called on him once.
Okay.
You want to give him a second chance?
No. And I have no further comments. I am looking forward to next Tuesday's Commissioner Priorities meeting. And
So we're at 10 o'clock now.
10 o'clock here in this office. And if there's no further business,
Mr. Chairman, are we
Yes.
do you want us to give what we're gonna talk about that day to Sarah, where there's an agenda for that meeting, or are you just gonna have a free-for-all?
no, it's not a free-for-all. It's going to be every commissioner is going to have a certain time frame to present what they want to present. If they want to present what, they might not want to present. They might want to keep that close to them right now, that they're working on something. But I'm going to give every commissioner an opportunity to lay out their plans for 2021. I think it's important that, as the chairman, that I could keep your priorities in the forefront. As you well know, Mr. Mr. Turner, last year when you were chairman, it seems like
Things ran smoother?
when things were smoother, correct. It always seems like, you look back, and I've been here almost 7 years, and I'm still talking about things that I talked about back then. And it's nobody's fault. It's just that this fire happened, and that COVID situation happened, and this hurricane came on, and our things kind of get left on the back burner, and the things that we want to get done, and I apologize if I offend anybody, but some of our department heads move into a different direction when in fact there's still work to be done on the items that we're concerned about. And we're concerned about those as a county as a whole. None of us are individual commissioners in individual districts. We're county commissioners as a whole. And I want to be part of that team. And I want to keep your priorities out there. I want to work with Mr. Suggs, work with the department heads, and say, why are you doing this in this area when we're having 4 times the problem in that area?
So that was the short answer to we're just gonna bring our stuff with us that day?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Mr. Past Chairman, exactly.
Thank
That's
you.
exactly the short. Mr. Adams, that.
I just want to say I appreciate that we're going to do this meeting, because one thing for the public to understand is, as a new commissioner, ongoing commissioner, there is sentiment in the public that we can go talk to each other from some aspects
Sure.
of so the only place we can do this is right here.
Right here.
So the idea that we share our things, I personally do not know what the priority of any commissioner on here is as far as what's most important to them. I can make some assumptions based on the 4 meetings I've been in, regular meetings, and based on watching past meetings and things. But I think it's important, and I don't know if it's maybe something we want to do once a quarter or something even, just because it allows us to have that conversation here. We can talk amongst ourselves. Maybe we decide that what my priority is, that should be back burner, because what Terry brought up is 5 times better a priority. And obviously, we work on multiple things at the same time. But I really appreciate that we're going to have this meeting.
I agree. Mr. Turner?
I have no problem with that at all, but I think the better avenue possibly would be to see how Tuesday goes, see what our priorities are, because I think you'll find as we go along that we can talk to each other in workshop. and we have 2 of them a month at least. You know, and so if we need another one because the list is too long to fit them in that area, then I'm for it. But, yeah, I think we just need to see how Tuesday goes, Mr. Chairman, and see what we can get done.
Thank you. All right, if there's no further business, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.